So this ought to be a whole heck of a ton of fun.
And we're underway. Let's see what the uncle says. I could beat it in an hour or something. Good luck with that.
Lies. Uncle lies.
And for a hard mode seed, we start off with a heart container. I'd say that's a pretty good start for this type of seed.
I mean, yeah, considering that there's only going to be maximum health of 14 hearts in a hard mode seed, starting off with one puts you in a pretty good spot. There's a quick map check. Looks like crystals in Eastern and Desert, but a red pendant up in Tower of Hera.
And it's going to be interesting to see how those come into play today. Obviously, on this type of seed, the pendants are not required. However, in some cases, there may be items locked behind them, and it may be necessary to get those pendants, especially if the pedestal comes into play. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see what that is later, too. And the next chest available after the sword is a 20 rupee collectible, and the runners are now heading into the castle.
We're going to see quite a few rupees this time around, aren't we?
Ooh, we gotta be rich.
And keep in mind, it was Uncle Assured Sword. That's what that icon at the top of the screen does highlight. Uncle Assured hard mode. So no real surprises with the sword there, unlike the randomized sword variant there.
Now, while the runners do run through Hyrule Castle proper on the first floor, just a quick primer. This is the normal way that the game is played in terms of running through the castle like this. The game starts, it's raining. The story is that the princess, as we find a bottle of red goo, which also has less effect. We'll talk about that later. The story is that the princess somehow telepathically calls out to Link, who is lying in bed sleeping, dreaming, and he ends up going to the castle. Guards blocking off the path. You can't get anywhere outside of his house or the castle. And that's literally how the game normally starts. This is literally the vanilla way that the game is played going through the castle. The randomizer does include additional modes like open mode, where that's already done for you. You can just go and start collecting things. So this is the regular way the game is played. Second chest today is a key.
Yeah, the key, one of two dungeon items in the escape sequence, so we knew we were going to have to get that eventually to get through here. So not a big surprise up to this point in time. Still looking for that map, which is the other dungeon item, and they're going to be trying to get some bombs before they get through the escape sequence here. So far, no luck, though. In hard mode, the drop rates for enemies is quite a bit lower, but wow! Ooh. As if on cue, Lanxion gets an 8-bomb drop.
That's how it seems to... Oh, another 8-bomb drop. There we go. They're on even pegging for the bombs now. Farming is complete.
And that's our second bottle with a B-Torp in it.
B-Torp.
So I believe, and I just want to double check things here, but okay, it does look like we still have 4 bottles, but we got half of our bottles through the escape sequence. Sick Kid is calling strong right at the moment.
Even just 1 bottle would be enough to get the Sick Kid. Obviously, 2, you're still only going to get one item from the Sick Kid. You just need that 1 item to get that item from him. The question is just what the Sick Kid will have today, or whether it will just be maybe a piece of his heart, because, he is sick.
I mean, we do not know at this point in time. Lanxion and asazas are making just incredible time through this escape sequence. With vanilla escape, you want to shoot for about a 6-minute total escape is what is considered good, even on hard mode. Lanxion and asazas are right on pace with that, looking very solid right now.
Yeah, Lanxion has a slightly going into the back of escape, but obviously it is still early. We can't judge who is going to be ahead in the race just by what happens in the escape. Just this quick edge starting out here. So Lanxion pushing the grate aside. Asazas is entering the room. And Lanxion is the first to enter the dark sewers, the dark back end of the castle today.
Question in chat. Corcoramano is asking, what game mode is this? If you look at the icons, and we mentioned this kind of throughout this tournament, Ganon icon says it's defeat Ganon is our goal. The Zelda icon, which is probably the most confusing as far as I'm concerned, is the standard mode opening that we're doing because we have to rescue the princess. The uncle with the sword, that means uncle has a sword, guaranteed. And then the H is hard mode. So every race between the ALTTPR channels or the speed gaming channels should have those icons ready for you.
Now you may notice in the icon area there's a blank spot there in between the H for hard mode and the box where Lanxion's name is. If this were a key sandy seed, you would see a boss key sitting in that spot to indicate it's a key sandy seed. This, however, is a regular non-key sandy, so the keys are in their dungeons where they belong. We have our third bottle. Did you see that?
Three bottles. Man, that's the most bottle-dense location. I'm sure they're hoping for some other, unique items other than just a ton of bottles at this point. But I guess go with it.
Well, it's a couple bottles of goo, and yes, I mentioned we would talk about it later. We might as well bring it up now. The goo is not as effective in hard mode as it is in normal mode. It actually doesn't refill as many hearts. I think it's like 7 hearts or something like that. I might be wrong on the number, but it's definitely not full life. It's definitely a much smaller portion of life that does get filled in. And Lanxion does his map check.
Absolutely. It is only 7 hearts for red goo, so got to be careful with that, and potion is always good. Now you only have maximum 14, so at most it's a half health refill. We did get our 1 armor upgrade as well, blue mail. There's not going to be red mail in hard mode, so you got to keep that in mind. And a tree pull of big 20s. That's nice.
I guess that could be helpful if they have a problem with money for Zora later, but given the extra amounts of rupees in the seed, I don't foresee that being a problem. There's $5 in the bottom of the, or I should say in the Thieves' Hideout, I guess that is.
And Lanxion showing us the Lumberjack Ledge. It was just 50 rupees, so no reason to go after Aghanim, at least as of yet, as Asazas goes ahead and finds his 20 rupees as well in the tree pull with lamp. Well,
that is a logical hint we don't have to look for today.
Yeah, so I mean that does a couple things for us. It opens up at least 1 other treasure location, possibly 2, in the Eastern Palace area. It is also a fire source in case we get access to Desert Palace. Also, it could open up our access to Death Mountain. That's kind of an early game item that can give us a lot of clues. The other thing we're worried about now is possibly Aghanim required.
And in the vanilla game, the lamp is actually the first item you get. You are meant to have that item early, and that's why so many dark rooms exist in the early dungeons. That's normally an item you're going to get right away and use very frequently. So as we get the power glove in the Blind's hut there, and we're going to get to the back of the hut right now to see what's in there. But just the book, there we go. So to finish my explanation on that, the lantern unlocks a lot of dark rooms, and very often you'll see runners in this tournament not go after the lamp, even if they know where it is, because that's just a logical hint to tie the seed together. A lot of the players in this tournament are aware of how to go through the dark rooms at this point.
So let's see, we've already gotten a lamp, we've gotten our glove upgrade, we've gotten the book. This is a Stackerico village as far as I'm concerned right at the moment.
Well, let's see what's in the well. Asazas is giving us our first look at that right now. There's some arrows. First bundle of arrows we've seen today. Nothing much of discussion otherwise.
Chat pointing something out between the glove, the lamp, and the book. We have very early access to the Desert Palace, and
we have a moon pearl.
The vendor gives us the Jawbreaker of life.
So now all we need is a second glove upgrade, and we pretty much have Dark World access. Hammer for probably full Dark World access. And we would need another items for Death Mountain, which we'll worry about later.
Yeah, we have so much access right now. I'm not terribly concerned about Death Mountain, at least with our logical access right now. But yeah, this is getting to be one of the most stacked Kakariko villages I've seen in a long, long time. We even had another heart container, which is absolutely great for hard mode.
And if the bottles were a hint to go to Sick Kid, basically Sick Kid gave us some explosives to blow up holes with. Asazas finds a heart piece in the back of the tavern. So yeah, the last few chests were not really valuable, but we did have a lot of items in Kakariko. The Moon Pearl will make it possible to do whatever you need to in Dark World at this point. That's a very important item to have. It's generally only found in the Light World or a couple of specific spots in the Dark World, such as the Pyramid. I didn't catch what was in the library. Did you see that, Vitasia?
It looked like it was just 10 arrows, so I'm not too terribly worried about that, I believe.
And Asazas is giving us our first look at the race game. Piece of heart. So he won't collect that.
Absolutely not. Now, this is kind of a dangerous proposition where we're at. We're at 2 items until, or 1 item until Dark World access, but we're also 1 item away from access to Aghanim. And in these kind of one-on-one races, it's as important about what you do as what your opponent doesn't do. So it's possible if we have an early Aghanim, if we get a second sword or a cape, we might take an early jaunt up to defeat Aghanim on a quick gamble, which might be disastrous if we end up finding Dark World access later. So this is a really dangerous spot for these runners to be in based on what the other one could possibly do to gain some advantage and leverage.
It looks like they're just following each other's tracks right now, though I have a feeling that may be the case for at least a little while here while we're still in the early game. Asazas, meanwhile, floods the dam, rather. And let's see what was in the moat that put us. Oh, this is the 2nd race in a row I've seen the mirror there. Look at that. Mirror in the water.
Of course, we couldn't see it when the lake was full because the mirror was just reflecting the light from in the water, and it was hidden.
That seems to be where that mirror likes to hide out on me lately. 2nd time in a row I've seen it there. My last call the other day, it was actually in there as well. Just kind of convenient that we got the same call there. Asazas is giving us the first look at Mini Moldorm Cave. And basically we have to clear 4 Mini Moldorms, which is why it's called Mini Moldorm Cave. The door opens and you go back and find a guy trapped in there.
Yeah, he doesn't look too happy to be rescued, but, you know, to each their own. Money, 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 arrows, and more money. It is
all 5 chests.
Officially, Jerry Maguire. Someone, show me the money!
All money back there. That's not. I guess you could say it's a very profitable cave.
Well, and now, let me see, Az is going over here, going to show us what the Ice Rod Cave. A lot of runners try to hold this off until they can get some sort of quick travel, but it is a logical possibility, so looks like he's on his way. Very dangerous, all of these crabs. They do a ton of damage, especially when you're in hard mode and you don't have a ton of health to begin with. It can be a dangerous trek. Does look like Lanxion's doing something similar.
And Asazas finds the single green rupee. And I was mistaken. There was 10 arrows in Mini Moldorm Cave, but still nothing of value there because you're going to see a lot of arrows. The arrow upgrades, while they didn't exist in hard mode before, I think they didn't exist there if I remember correctly. They are back in hard mode. You can actually get arrow upgrade or arrow and bomb upgrades at the Great Ferry near the Ice Palace area. And they each cost 200 rupees. They cost more than they do in normal mode. So that is back in hard mode, but you're going to see a lot of extra arrows in the pool because those are removed in the first place.
All right, so Az is actually looking like he's going to be checking this Lumberjack Ledge and will likely be heading up Death Mountain. Death Mountain is a little bit more unlocked in that we do have access to Tower of Hera, although Tower of Hera is a pendant, so it is less attractive, in my humble opinion, than, say, a desert palace, but it looks like Lanxion is going to be doing the same thing.
I'm in agreement with the desert palace play. Because we have 2 dungeons open to us, I don't see a point to going to Eastern Palace yet, because it seems to me the logic is screaming at these 2 dungeons right now. Both are open, both are available, so I could even see the Eastern Palace play. Unless there's nothing found in these dungeons, that could possibly wait until they have access to Palace of Darkness, because they already have the mirror. They could do both at the same time once they have the bow.
All right, so we have Az leading the old man, right as Lanxion. Man, these 2 have been just following each other in lockstep. No route divergence between these 2 at this point. Really excited to see when we're going to see a divergence and what happens there. And that's a worthless boomerang right at the moment.
Yeah, it's nice to know that the old man collects throwing things. I don't think you're going to see the runners use that very much, given they already have a sword in their possession.
Yeah, the boomerang actually in hard mode, remember, doesn't even stun enemies. It's very, very weak. We might see it for some switch shenanigans. And was that what I thought it was up on the top?
I missed it. We'll get another look in just a second here when Lanxion gets up there or when asazas gets back outside. Meanwhile, inside we have 20 rupees, and we're going to get our first hint of the game back here. The hints can be bad, they can be good. It varies from game to game. We're just getting a hint on a good meal. I beg to differ.
Yeah, did not look too good. Az sets up that bomb jump very well, so we have some sync going on right here.
And yes, I see that I am on top of the Spectral Rock now. That Titan's Mitt will be very useful. I don't think Aghanim's getting a visit right now.
No, he is not. So Turtle Rock and Ice Palace are actually going to be our other two pendants. 5-6 in Misery Mire and Thieves Town. Oh my goodness, that's super interesting right there. Turtle Rock being a pendant, that could mean a lot of things.
I like to joke that there's always something in pendant Turtle Rock. The question is how useful it is. Some players will make the gamble to, as we check the Ether tablet, there's just bombs there. Some players will make the gamble to pendant Turtle Rock because they feel that there might be something going on there with that pendant there, but there have been scenes where there's nothing in there. It literally is just a place you don't even have to go into. So we're going to find out later when we get the medallions if the players make a play on either location. Until we get a medallion, we're not worried about either location at all.
And Lugaroo pointing out something very interesting in chat. And man, these hints are all garbage today. So,
quality hits.
Oh my god. But back to what Lugaroo is saying, we still do not have access to the eastern part of the Dark World. Until we have either the hammer or the flippers, we do not have access to that east side of the Dark World. So Aghanim is not completely off the table yet.
Not yet. We do have access to 4 dungeons, so right now the odds are very high that Aghanim is slowly going down to the see you later status. But as you noted, we still have to get to the eastern side of the world, and yeah, there are multiple ways to get over there, but the hammer is the most convenient one. And meanwhile, a compass requires a hammer. That's not something we really care about, but we will definitely see later if that hammer shows up when we will get over there. And Asazas is done, it looks like, with Tower Hair. Already found both of his items.
Yep, found the 10 arrows that was in one location, and in the second location was that piece of heart. So he said, nah, I'm good without a pendant, and leaves. So the Titan's Mitts were really the major prize, and that is our Dark World access for the western half of the Dark World. We'll see where Az ends up going from here.
Now, sometime we'll see if Lanxion actually continues and finishes the Tower of Hera. That would mean that he is putting in the bank the possibility of the pedestal potentially being required. So we'll find out later if he gets up there and takes that on.
Well, it looks like he's Lanxion is doing the old-fashioned way of dropping down. Az ended up doing the bomb jump, which can be a little bit risky because if you miss that one, you fall all the way down to the first floor, which can be a bit time-consuming. So Lanx just saved himself some time. Az, meanwhile, is in the Dark World. He is in the Village of Outcasts, cleaning this out to start off with.
And Lanxion did quit Tower of Hera as well. He got his second item. So it will be interesting later to see if that does end up having to be a place that they go back to later. Asazas didn't find anything really useful in the treasure game. Let's see what's in the place that the community likes to call the brewery right now. And just a piece of heart down there today.
I think it's called the brewery on the breakdown, on the walkthrough.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the C-shaped house is the next stop for Asazas. 300 rupees. Zora is looking like a much more palatable play at this point. We can't get to the catfish yet, so because we are literally one item away from getting to the catfish, they might try to put off Zora if they can. We have a lot of dungeons available. We'll see what they decide to do as Asazas enters Thieves' Town.
Thieves' Town is completely within logic at this point in time. Well, I take that back. Mostly within logic right now. There could be some shenanigans involving the hammer if we do not have it a little bit later, but otherwise we can at least beat the dungeon at this point in time.
20 rupees in the second chest, so nothing useful yet. Just, well, the big key, if you consider that, but it has to be in this room. And Asazas proceeds. There are 2 more chests on the right side of this entry area to collect before continuing north into the boss door and on the way to fight Blind.
So there's some interesting discussion in chat going on right now. There's another big 20. So 2 of the 4 items in this dungeon have already been found in this front room. And, okay, the small key. This is why this is interesting. That small key being located there means that we do not necessarily need the hammer to beat the dungeon. And here's why. So there is 1 small key that locks the big treasure chest. Now, key logic in every dungeon assumes that you use your small keys in the dumbest way possible. And that's the easiest way to describe it. So you would go and take a small key that's in the giant spike room and then use it on a different door, so that if the small key is actually locked in the big treasure chest, which it absolutely can be, that means the logic requires that you have the hammer to be able to get that particular key, which locks the entire dungeon behind the hammer. Long story short, because the key was before that, we don't necessarily need the hammer to beat the dungeon, which means right now, a very low percent and very rarely seen play, the hammer being on the Pyramid Fairy is possible.
And that would be one of those really disgusting things to see, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that would require Aghanim, would it not?
That would, yes. It's one of those disgusting, we don't like to use the term trolley, but that would absolutely be a trolley seed playthrough to require doing a hammer fairy.
Lanxion being very careful to try to get through that area. There's fun fact in this dungeon, if you kill an enemy in the wrong spot in that long vertical room, you can actually soft block the dungeon, have to go save and quit or go back to the beginning. So players will often try to avoid having that happen by not fighting anything in that room.
And yes, Solzik, they absolutely do need to check things like Eastern Palace and Sahasrara before we're completely ruling out that Ag is going to be required. There's still a lot we have to do. But if there's one thing that people in this community seem to enjoy, it's speculation on how evil we can possibly make the seed.
Oh, we love looking up as many evil ways as possible to have these things go wrong when we're commentating. We love commentating the evil seeds, I think we could safely say. Asazas gets back to the maiden and finds his compass back there, so that leaves just Blind to deal with, who he is unknowingly escorting right now.
I do believe we still need to find the map and 1 item. So Blind either has an item or has the map. If it's the map, that means there could be a really key potential item located in that out-of-the-way location. We'll see what ends up happening here while Az starts his blind fight.
I don't see you having a bright future. That's a very nice... thank you, Blind, for that. And he is doing a scripted blind fight. This fight is scripted in such a way that you can fight it the same way every single time. If you actually do take a death to Blind on this first attempt, then any future attempts would be off script. You don't know what kind of fight you're going to get when you come in. We are going to go fast.
Okay, the boots. That is something that every runner wants to see. The interesting thing is that is our 4th item, so that guarantees the map's going to be in that big chest, not coming back here. And most importantly, that's, I mean, anything that makes you go fast is a speedrunner's dream, right?
Yeah, anytime you want to go fast, boots definitely make you happier because you can go even faster.
So here's what is likely going to happen, at least at this point. Az is going to come over here, get the digging game. Now it'll be interesting if he goes and picks up the frog, kind of locally known as Jeremiah, to see if he's going to do a world tour and then save and quit before turning him in, or if he's going to bypass that, route down, get the hype cave, and then route over to Desert Palace, which is seems like an obvious play at this point in time.
Asazas finds the fourth and final bottle in the digging game, and he does take that bottle. I think it had a bee or a fairy. I'm not sure which one I saw there, but there was something inside of it. And yes, I do agree with you that routing the purple chest from after getting Jeremiah, as we call him, he's getting Jeremiah right now. After routing the purple chest in and going straight to Desert Palace seems like the most logical play at this point. So let's see if Asazas decides to do that here.
All right, so he is going to be turning it in, and this is going to be interesting. Lanxion is right on his tail. We'll see if Lanx does a different routing decision here. I don't know if he will or not, but these guys have been just following the same route. No route divergence 26 minutes in, and ooh, man.
So Lanxion is going to get to 24 digs, find his bottle, and Asazas gets the flute from the blacksmiths. I guess they craft musical instruments for a living, which is something we will definitely take for 10 rupees.
So here's why that's interesting. That's one of our key items that we were missing. The other 5/6 crystal is Misery Mire. Now, at least at this point in time, we're still missing a few things to be able to even get into Misery Mire. Obviously, we need a medallion of some sort, and in order to beat it, we will need the Cane of Samaria. But man, that Hammer Fairy just got a major boost.
And Asazas frees his ducks, so I still think he might go with the Desert Palace play first, but at the same time, now he could just flute over to Misery Mire, get a look at what the item is, and that would allow him to at least have some intel as to what medallion is required in that area.
It'd be interesting, but it does look like Az is going to, pick up the purple chest. Looks like he's going to continue on with his planned route prior to getting the flute. Now, Lanxion actually avoided doing Jeremiah and is going right to Hype Cave. He already checked Stumpy and K45, so he does not have the flute yet. That's our first route divergence, and that's a biggie.
So get your hype in chat, ladies and gentlemen. We have a piece of heart, and in the chest behind, we have the flippers, another piece of heart, 300 rupees, and 5 rupees. Vitasia, rate this hype cave.
You know what? Flippers were, at this point, were our access to at least a large portion of the Dark World at this point in time. We can at least get to Palace of Darkness, so it's a pretty significant hype cave. It also gives us access to this first portion of Swamp Palace. I'm going to have to give this a solid 6 out of 10 hype.
We got our third Jokin. We actually have 3 Jokins in the series. We have a Grumble from the Swamp Palace today. So not anything useful there. I have a feeling Asazas is going to do the road as we figured he would, going towards Desert Palace. But after dropping off the chest, he will probably flute so he can check out the Mire area, and then he can move into Desert Palace from there while getting a couple items from Checkerboard Cave, the Desert Ledge at the same time.
Yeah, so Lanxion is going over to the desert. Just pocket change, move on. Oh, he is not going to continue on to the desert from the looks of it. He is going to stop. He might be going over here and doing his Zora checks now that he has the flippers. Checking Hobo, the Zora areas. That's a much denser location. So he's kind of, it looks like Lanxion is doing more on-the-fly routing decisions, whereas Az had a plan and he's sticking to it.
Yeah, Asazas is continuing on with his plan. He does have the flippers now as well, obviously. Lanxion is going... I don't think we've had a check of the Lake Hylia Island yet, so we're going to do that right now. And Wow!
Oh my
The Cane of Samaria. That is a very good play.
And Solzik, I hate to correct you, sir. Aga 1 is not dead because if the hammer is absolutely required for every seed. And if the hammer is in the Pyramid Fairy, you cannot take the bombs up north and then jump down into the swim. That bomb will explode. So in order to get the big bomb to the proper location, you would need to be able to mirror around only through the Aga portal. So it is absolutely possible, and there is some super hype going.
Lanxion found his Master Sword from the old man. I don't know what he's doing with a sharp, pointy object. Asazas did go to the Mire area, as I thought. He might find Quake on Misery Mire. Yeah, so that's basically what's going to be needed for entry there today. Going into the Mire Shed. It could be here in the Mire Shed, but the... what are the odds of that, as we get a bug net and a mushroom?
Okay, man, I don't know about anyone else. I am starting to get really, really hyped for this. I don't want to get be disappointed later, but this is something you don't see. I think it is Hammer Fairy is one of the rarest seeds to ever see, and it's setting up very nicely at the moment.
And I don't mean to necessarily delight and agree with you, but Pyramid Fairy has been something that has been very frequent in seeds I've called, oddly enough. It would just make sense if the hammer ended up there today.
All right. As is in Desert Palace, in the meanwhile, Lanxion checks the pyramid, and it is nothing of note, just some rupees.
And we did also have the red boomerang on the desert ledge earlier, which Asazas did check as well. So he saw that, stopped, turned around, and left. So Lanxion is going up to the Grumpy Fish. I have a feeling he's going to go ahead with the mirror, get the Grumpy Fish taken out, and then he's going to continue up to Zora and get that all done at once. This is not very often you get to do this because of the way the items are laid out. When you can do this, it's a huge time save because it's a long walk up here each time you have to walk up here. So the Grumpy Fish is probably going to cough up something like a rod of some sort, but nope, just 20 rupees, and he says no thanks.
I can understand that particular no thanks. So Lanxion making full use of the items that he has that he might be feeling give him a bit of an edge here. Another heart container and a single green rupee. So Az is going to be clearing the rest of Desert Palace. I think we've gotten one item, but I don't think we've gotten both of them. So if I'm counting things right, we will eventually see what our last item is here on Land Molus.
Asazas forgets which tower room he's in. He went to the pod in the upper right, which is where the key would be in a later tower room in this dungeon. Instead, this one was the lower left. So he got his rooms a little confused there. But he does find the key. He does continue on. And what does the Grumpy Fish number 2 have for us today? Just some bombs. Why not?
The most expensive bombs. Those are some high-quality artisanal bombs right there. Oh,
and I didn't even notice that either. That was the hook shot on the Zora ledge. That opens up pretty much everything in the overworld, except for, as you noted, the possibility of Hammer Fairy, Pyramid Fairy. That would still be interesting, but Dark Death Mountain is completely open at this point.
Yeah, Death Mountain is starting to look very attractive. That's a lot of item locations. Lanxion appears to be on his way down to desert. He's going to do this desert area now. Maybe thinking, I've had access to the desert for a while. He's going to have a little bit easier of a fight over here because of that Master Sword. Az is spending a lot of time on what can be a relatively quick fight, but Fighter Sword Vanilla Landmo can be tricky.
Yeah, he is having a little bit of a challenge getting the worms taken out here. He is working hard at it, and as we get a check in Gina, just some more explosives. The worms are gone. We do have 20 rupees, a big 20, and our first crystal of the seed today. For him. Well, second crystal, sorry.
Yeah, we did have that crystal from Thieves Town, which was one of the 5-6. So it looks like the whole desert area, even though we were calling for it a little bit earlier, seems to be a bust. We've gotten no real value out of it whatsoever. Meanwhile, Lanxion did get quite a bit of value following his Flipper's breadcrumbs.
And now Assassin's heading you over to Checkerboard Cave. Now he still does not have the hook shot that's on the Zora ledge, so he will surely make his way over there soon. I can't see him putting that off for too long now that he has everything to go over there and he can get 5 checks out of the way. Checkerboard Cave is just a piece of heart. Doesn't stop to pick it up. So I think at this point, while the runners are retracing each other's steps, they're both doing things that we've seen before. This is a good time. And by the way, thank you for, I can't read that name, H00Z0R, I think that's pronounced Hooser, for the 100-bit donation to Speed Gaming. We do appreciate that. So take this opportunity to follow the runners. They're putting on a good show for your racing here today, and they deserve your support.
Absolutely. So Az fluting away. I'm really curious to see where Az ends up going. Is he going to try to follow these breadcrumbs? Oh, he's going to turn the mushroom in. So
I don't know if Lanxion did. Yeah, Lanxion doesn't have the mushroom yet, so you can't do this yet.
Nope. You know what? I want to see Quake. I want to see Quake very, very quickly.
Unless Quake looks like a 5 rupee collectible, I don't think we're going to find it yet.
Not this time, no. Az is still looking for his access to Death Mountain. Lanxion getting that. So it does look like Az is going to be following his Flipper breadcrumbs shortly. We'll be getting all this value that we find up here. I think this is one. I mean, Lanxion's routing was a little bit better because he did end up getting the Cave of Samaria in a little bit more efficient fashion. Az did see it, and he's going to have to make a special trip back for that. Lanxion has kind of routed all that together much more quickly. Now, had it not paid out, then Az would have saved some time not having to go back to that at all. So. Just kind of a lucky gamble there by Lanxion at that point in time.
So Zazas has now seen that King of Samaria, now has his Master Sword. He's probably wishes he had that when he was fighting Landmolus earlier. Lanxion is cleaning out Desert Palace, as Zazas is now going to most likely make his way to a portal and make his way over to the Zora area.
So it's interesting, you know, we were worried a little bit because Lanxion has not done the Smith's chain quite yet, and that Smith's did lead to the flute. That has not crossed Lanxion's mind. Meanwhile, Az is doing everything he needs to get the item catch up that Lanxion has up to this point. I got to imagine Az, with his item loadout that he has, will almost immediately make a beeline up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, once he sees the hook shot, I have a feeling that's going to be exactly where he goes. Because he's like he doesn't need to do Tower Hair anymore. Tower Hair, both runners have already visited, cleaned out the items that were needed. They have the ability to check the pedestal, but they won't do that until we get to Skullwood. So it's going to be some time until we know if the pedestal actually ends up required today, which would at this point be I don't think there's a lot left that can be there aside from perhaps a medallion or something along those lines. Which would mean Turtle Rock would not be locked by whatever medallion that is, if that's the case. But yeah, we're looking at something like that being the... lost my train of thought all of a sudden.
No, it happens. It happens. But no, you're right. So Death Mountain is kind of the next breadcrumb in the chain. I mean, we do have some access to other areas. Like we still haven't touched the Eastern Palace or Palace of Darkness areas. Both of those could have some significant value for us. But as... rightfully so, and I think every speedrunner would do about the same thing. You get the hook shot, you have the Titan Smiths, you'd go do Death Mountain and clear everything out.
Yeah, both runners are doing that right now. They both started, again, at the Old Man on Death Mountain. So here we go. We're going to see some new information on both runners as Asazas goes to Dark Death Mountain, and Lanxion appears to be following him.
Not even remotely surprising. This is kind of the logical play. There's so much value available up here, and Az is going to show us. Looks like he's going to start with the dark, or with the light world. Lanxion looks like he's going to also follow suit, putting his warp. So we're going to be just neck and neck here. Bombs and Big 20. I'm telling you, Quake. We just need a Quake and no hammer. Please, that's all I'm asking for.
Nah, this would be a great place to find Bombos. But let's see what happens when we ignore the snakes for a while. We get some bombs. Not Bombos, but bombs. More bombs. We had a shield as well there. There's the Tempered Sword. And there is more bombs. I guess this was Bomb Cave today.
That's an explosive revelation there, Cyclone. But no, the Tempered Sword is nice. That is all of our swords. There is no Golden Sword in hard mode, so that's it for swords. Don't expect to find anything else.
Now, just to clarify that, yes, 4 swords are placed, but wherever that 4th sword is now, it just has vanished, it's exploded, it's turned into financial gain instead. So while 4 swords are placed, you only will get 3. It's the same with the shields. You can only get the fire shield. You won't find the mirror shield, but they are both placed. And I believe the same is for, I think there's one more item like that as well. I'm trying to think of this off the top of my head.
Oh, Lanxion tried to swag it up. Oh my goodness!
There's your Quake! There's your Quake!
Yeah, I'm so excited right now!
Oh, and it's the melee we were thinking about, which we did earlier, so that's why I wasn't thinking of that. So what is on Turtle Rock now that we have a medallion? He's very interested. Ether is on Turtle Rock. So that Quake is not useful yet, but it will be useful for Misery Mire.
All right, just a big 20 there on the floating island. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. I am so hyped right now. You guys have no idea.
Well, we're going to Hookshot Cave now. Let's see if we can find more to be excited about here. As the first chest reveals a big 20, he's now going to use the skulls to cross the gap by attaching to them with a hookshot. There's that bomb I thought was nearby. We have the heart piece in the 3rd chest, and a full heart in the final chest there. He won't go for the big 20 on the island, however.
All right, so we're going to be dropping down at this point in time. Lanxion, I think, was just there, but I did not see what he ended up getting.
With so many exciting locations to open, it's easy to miss one. So we will get another shot at it here on Asaz's side, as Lanxion is now heading into the Dark Death Mountain side here, and he is now going to head upstairs and see what is up at Turtle Rock himself, I believe. Inside the one area was a big 20 under the Spiral Cave.
It is worth pointing out that Ice Palace isn't logic. It is the green pendant, but Bombos does get us past those Freezors there. So that might be a viable play here directly as well. Az looks like he's setting up for something else, though.
Yeah, I think, well, I thought he was going to Swamp for a second there, but it looks like that's not the case. Going to Kakariko. I think he is thinking of Skull Woods at this point, from what I can tell of his routing.
That's interesting. Oh, he might be doing, never mind, I don't know what he would be doing.
He's going south. He's going south. No, we don't have the hammer yet, so he can't do the hammer pegs. What would he be doing at this point? Oh, he's checking the Bumper Cave, I think.
Checking Bumper Cave, getting these north locations. So you have Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, and of course the Graveyard Ledge. So you can route those together sometimes, and that's an efficient check.
Just 10 arrows there. So Bumper Cave, the cape will not come into play on this seed today. That's good to know. We're getting a look at one of the Bonk Rocks locations as he will run into the rocks very, very gleefully. And inside the first Bonk Rock location, we have $300.
So now Lanxion looks like he's heading over to the Eastern Palace area, which is really very interesting. This was open to us from the get-go. This is our first check into it. He still hasn't done that smith though for that flute. I'm anxious for the flute, obviously.
So as Lanxion checks out Sahasrara's backside, which has 5 rupees, 20 rupees, and 50 rupees. So just taking his life insurance fund, I guess. Asazas finds 5 rupees in the back of the graveyard ledge area.
All right, so Az is going to be doing King's Tomb here. Lanxion does, I mean, he did Sahasrara's Cave and then said, you know what, something else sounds good. These other locations.
And there's a big 20 under the grave today.
So much money. This is the point where we kind of, you know, it's real easy to get a lot of these one-off locations or 2- and 3-off locations as we've been seeing. Az looks like he might be going over here to Catfish. But man, it's I get the feeling Misery Mire's our answer, one way or the other.
A very early Misery Mire. That would be at least they have a lot of life to do this. They have 10 life. They have their temper swords, so they are very well armed at this point to take on Misery Mire. I don't think this will be too much trouble for them at this point.
No, in fact, you could even make the argument that this doesn't necessarily even feel like a hard mode seed right at the moment, because we've got, I mean, we have Blue Mail, we have Tempered Sword. You know, you can make the argument that our magic may not be much, but hey, with Vitreous, you just kind of use the same old strats, and you're kind of set.
Asazas got his check in at the Catfish. Lanxion is now doing his check of the Graveyard Ledge, which had a 5 rupees at the back of it, not 20. Asazas heading south into the pod area. I have a feeling at this point he's checking the pyramid first. Yep, he's heading straight towards the pyramid. He may go to Palace of Darkness next, because once again, Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace. While we don't have the bow yet, this would be a gamble to see if the bow is inside one of these locations. So the question will be if he goes that way, or if he goes to another dungeon that he can clear right now.
Keep in mind, he still hasn't dropped down to that Lake Hylia, Cane of Samaria location, and he knows that that's there. So he might be picking that up before too long as well. But no, it looks like...
Yeah, that's where he's going, exactly, just as you said it. Almost got stuck on the rock when he jumped down, but he's heading towards that spot right now.
All right, and Lanxion looks like he's going to go another route. He's going to make a dip over here into Ice Palace. So one of these two are going to be right. This might be the gamble. Oh, no. Okay,
well, Lanxion and Asazas gave each other a high five for a moment there as Lanxion went by the island that Asazas was picking up the King of Samaria on, but they do diverge paths. Lanxion going through Ice Palace, Asazas going into Misery Mire with that Quake Medallion. We're going to see a little divergence here.
This is the divergence that I think might decide the race. Which one is the right, quote-unquote, guess? Now, they could both be right, and that could all be for naught, but this is the first real divergence, and this could decide quite a bit here. And it's worth noting, Arky does point out in chat that Lanxion doesn't have a choice. He does not have the flute, so Mire is not even an option for him.
And that first chest didn't look like it had anything really worthwhile in it, so Lanxion will continue through the cross room and has to find the switch in this room. Asazas is heading down into the main area of Misery Mire, going to make his way over to the bridge where the first chest is located.
Lanxion does pick up his second shield, and again, in hard mode, you can only have a maximum of 2 shields. Fire shield is the highest you can get. So that would have been a great key location if we could go mode this dungeon.
Asazas finds a key in the spike chest, I guess we can call it. And he continues back south. He's going to go to... Well, I think the lantern will unlock the firelock portion of the pod, so we do have that option available today for Asazas. He will go through the entire pod at this point because he is still looking for that hammer, so he will go through everything here.
Absolutely. Now, worth noting, you know, limited viability. I believe there's only 2 or 3 items. I get confused with Meyer sometimes, but I think it's only 2.
I think it is 2, and there's one of them right there. That's a big 20. So let's see where he goes. He's going to continue along the path. As Lanxion is clearing out the freezers in this room. There is a chest in this room for clearing out those freezers, which will appear now. And there's the fire rod.
Now here's the thing. That fire rod is absolutely required to clear Skull Woods. So that is a required fire rod. And we don't necessarily need it for Turtle Rock, but man, that means that Az is going to have to come here at some point. There's no avoiding it.
This is a really good play by Lanxion to get the fire rod out of there as well, because that is a pendant dungeon, and I think it's safe to say a lot of runners don't like to dip into Ice Palace. It's even worse for runners when there's a required item in Ice Palace and they try and avoid going there as long as possible.
So here's something that I like up to this point in time. We've gotten 1 item so far out of... There's...
That's 4 joke hints we've had in this seed now.
So many jokes, so many jokes. I am still rooting for Pyramid Hammer Fairy. We've only gotten 1 item out of Misery Mire. It is still very possible.
So Saz is working his way through some of the hardest dark rooms in the game, going through some very technical rooms that you have to navigate partially blind at times.
Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to set up spooky action there for a second, and he disappointed me.
Okay, Lanxion gets, I guess it wasn't anything of value from the big chest and leaves. He's done a nice palace. I guess he's been counting his items because he's determined that Cold Stare is not at play. Again, we don't know what's on the pedestal yet, so we don't know if the hammer or the... Actually, the hammer can't be on the pedestal, but we don't know if the bow could be on the pedestal. If that were to happen, then not finishing both pendant dungeons could be a very unfortunate situation for Lanxion.
More than that, you know, that's the green pendant. Like, that makes me a little bit nervous for Lanxion there a little bit.
That's a free item.
Oh, but we can't get to Cold Stare without the hammer. Right. Right. I are the dumb.
It happens, nothing to worry about. Asazas takes out the eyeball, and the giant eyeball provideth a key which we will not be using at this point, but it also provides the 3rd crystal for Asazas. He is once again in 1 crystal ahead of Lanxion, as Lanxion is heading towards the back of Skull Woods, it looks like.
Yep. Meanwhile, Az did skip the final treasure chest that is locked behind a real long cutscene there, unfortunately. He made the gamble that the final item was going to be on Cold Stare, not in that last location. It's a worthwhile gamble, but when it doesn't pay off, the time commitment to come back here is pretty large. But
so, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Lanxion is in the back of Skull Woods now, and he is making the... I think he's going to go straight to the pedestal, which is why I think he started back here right away. I think he wants to check the pedestal, rule that out of the search possibility, especially because he's already skipped 2 pendants. This is probably for ease of mind, I guess you could say. He wants to make sure there's nothing there so he doesn't have to go back when he gets the hammer to get Cold Stare later.
All right, so Lanxion is on his Mothula fight. That is the cleanest Mothula fight I've
Wow, that was a gorgeous fight. What was that? 1.5 seconds that he did that in?
The fastest I've ever seen. I'll put it that way. And I've seen a lot of races.
That's how to swat a bug. So Lanxion, let's see if he does what I think. He's getting out the mirror. He went inside first. So he's going to probably check the chest mirror out, and then he will check the pedestals. So keep an eye out to see if we get that hype today. Oh, well, there's the hammer. That rules out your wish for the seed, Vitasia, but there is still a couple things that we could find here.
The disappointment is real. Like, I feel like my high school girlfriend just broke up with me again a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you for a second here because we can get your pedestal hype in chat right now as we find out that we have a rupee horde. Awesome!
Hey, we're totally going to do that one, aren't we?
Oh, it's definitely worth it to get all that money. I mean, the goal is to have the highest rupee count, right?
That's not one of the goals I'm familiar with.
Oh, darn, okay.
All right, so Az now looks like he's going to be doing the Swamp Palace play. So interesting here to go ahead and burn through this. I think he's trying to make dungeons that he can full clear, even if it takes him a little bit longer to full clear all the items. He does, and will eventually have to do Ice Palace.
Yeah, he has to get the Fire Rod because the Fire Rod is necessary for Mothula, and Mothula is a crystal today. So we have to get that Fire Rod out of Ice Palace at some point. The longer he puts that off, the more will probably eat at his mind until he actually goes and looks at that looks to see what's in there. The first chest in Swamp provides, I think that was silver arrows. Yeah, that's the silver arrows. They do not work in hard mode like they do in normal mode, unfortunately. So they will only work on Ganon. You can use them otherwise just like regular arrows, but they only actually have the effect on Ganon for the 4 shots that you would need to finish him off.
Yeah, silver is absolutely worthless in every other capacity except Ganon. So that's still nice to see, but not, hey, I can use these silvers on every boss in the game. Nice. Meanwhile, Lanxion looks like he's going to take a dip into Eastern. This just means it's that much more important for him to go and talk to Jeremiah, because that flute from the Smiths will lead to Hammer in Misery Mire. That's just significant. And the longer he puts that off, the more and more Az is going to gain that much more of a lead on him.
I don't think he used the mirror to get up here either. I'm actually wondering if he plans to do Palace of Darkness while he's up here. I don't think he can actually clear it without the hammer, if I'm not mistaken. So that will be a bit of a significant time loss, not being able to do both at the same time when we know the hammer is in Misery Mire.
Absolutely. So it's not looking good for Lynx. The longer he puts that off, the more he's going to have to double check this. If the bow is here, great. I think that would be a great way to save a little bit of time, and it would be a very kind of niche location to be in a dungeon where it's required. If it's not, though, he's going to have to double dip this, and Az is going to keep on clearing these dungeons that Lanx just does not have access to yet.
Of course, the exception to this would be if the bow were to turn out to be here in Eastern Palace, which would be so French vanilla. But it is possible that it could be here, and if that's the case, then that's something that asazas will not know. But of course, having the hammer, he can clear out both dungeons very quickly. He just might put them off until they're the last ones left. There's your ether.
Oh, that's actually something I don't really want to see right now. Like, I do not want access to Turtle Rock right now. That could be buried in Ganon's Tower for as far as I care.
It is Pendant Turtle Rock, so I don't think the runners are going to want to go there quite yet.
No, and as long as you can still clear out other dungeons, I think avoiding Pendant Turtle Rock at this point in time would be a decent play. Oh, and look at Az with the poke strats on Argus, that first part. That's always impressive to see because it's a much trickier play than it looks like.
And it very quickly takes out the octopus part of the boss, and we have a map which clearly I hadn't been counting items, and I wouldn't know and hadn't been counting items. Unless he did not do the left side of the swamp yet. Did he do the left side?
He did not do the left side of swamp. He did bypass that, and we did find the compass in the big chest. So the left side of swamp has 2 items. So he might dip back down for that, and he is.
I can see that, yeah. So we did not find anything of value in Eastern Palace. Lanxion is heading back into Kakariko. Going to take the Dark World portal here. Looks like, I wonder what he's doing down here.
Maybe Lanxion is finally doing Jeremiah? Maybe.
I think so.
So here's something interesting for Az. You know, he has access to Turtle Rock, but I tell you, Turtle Rock is pretty unattractive anyway. Combine that with not having the fire rod so that you may be locked out of the dungeon pretty quick early anyway. I get the impression that Az is not going to dip that until he absolutely cannot, which will drive him more towards Ice Palace before he goes up to Turtle Rock, which is exactly what he needs to do anyway.
Yeah, he will dip Ice Palace for Turtle Rock because he won't have a lot of access if he doesn't do that. Of course, there could be the possibility that we find keys right away in Turtle Rock and he gets led down the rabbit's hole, so to speak. But chances are he will start with Ice Palace at this point. As Lanxion goes to his musical instrument creators and gets his flute of significance.
Starman asked a question. Assuming there's something important, is it faster to come back for the left side or do it through the first run? You know, you always want to try to get it kind of in the first pass because the setup to get into Swamp Palace is always a little bit of a pain. So if you can do it while at least the initial dungeon opening is already done, great. And really a lot of runners, we'll see runners abandon one treasure in here thinking if there's 2, they'll absolutely dip back down once they've already beaten the boss. If there's 1, some of them will leave it, some of them will come back. If there's none, like a lot of people gamble for, then, you know, they just call it good.
Nothing on the left side of Swamp, it looks like. Lanxion did free the bird. Not going straight to Mystery Mire, going back, and I wonder if he might... Well, he's grabbing the purple chest. I don't think he's going to try to find the... No, he's not going to the Magic Bat yet. He does... No, he doesn't even have the mushroom, it looks like, yet to do that. So, yeah. Magic Bat has to wait for Lanxion. He's going to go to Misery Mire, and that we know is the correct play to find the hammer.
Oh, so Lanxion is finally going over here doing the Mire checks, which he's going to leave... No, he's got to...
He realizes he has the purple chest.
Meanwhile, Az is going to do our big bomb pyramid fairy. You know, I appreciate the effort. I really do. I'm just not in the mood anymore. It was all a tease.
You never know, the boat could be in here.
I mean, that'd be a nice surprise, but just I was so excited for everything. I don't know.
I kind of want to see the powder leading to Magic Bat for this one, though, to be honest with you. That would be the thing that would be very unique in this seed, I would think. There's 10 arrows, and why did that have to happen?
Cyclone, you are a witch. Like, I have not seen one race with you, Cyclone, where you haven't made a witch call. What are you doing? What? Seriously, like...
I just get lucky, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the magic powder does open up Magic Bat, and now that he has the hammer, now that he has the powder, he can go to Magic Bat, and you know, what do we know? There might be a bow there.
All right, so Az looks like he's going to be doing the Pod Eastern area, which we've already seen Lanx do. Lanxion has not stepped foot into the Palace of Darkness area, and he's already cleared out most of Eastern, so we know nothing's there. Az might give us our first look into Palace of Darkness, which would be kind of nice.
But still no bow, so if he's going in without the bow, he's gambling. I think that the bow is in here. We can't finish it without the bow. There is a way to trigger a locked door that normally would be bow locked, which would be kind of a sequence break, except there's not really a lot of sequence left to break, except for possibly an ice rod, which would only be needed if Trinex is required. But yeah, other than that bow lock segment and not being able to shoot the statue in the eye, he can otherwise do a lot of Palace of Darkness. So he is starting in Eastern Palace, gets the big key from the first chest. We know there's nothing in here because Lanxion already went through here, but his asas will find that out going through now himself.
So once again, while these runners are kind of running over each other's locations, I do want to give a big shout out to those two. Lanxion and Az, their first race ended in kind of a heartbreaking manner, and I'm so glad we got to redo it. Please give your love and attention and follow both these runners, Asazas and Lanxion. They are true American gladiators, although I don't think either of them are American, so ignore that part. Calamity, just joining. Where was the Fire Rod? Fire Rod is in Pendant Ice Palace, which Lanxion dipped without the hammer. Lanxion will be picking up his hammer, so it'll be interesting to see if he dips back down there. I doubt it. But that's really the only edge that Lanx has on Az at this point.
Yeah, Az is doing the Eastern Palace area, so the rest of that. But as noted, Lanxion will get his hammer soon. He does have that Fire Rod, which Asazas does not have, so that is a huge advantage for him at this point because he knows that Fire Rod is needed for Mothula. He's already done Mothula, whereas Asazas has not actually been able to go there yet.
Oh, and Lanx is, up to this point, skipping the cutscene room, which is the place with the hammer. We'll see if he continues to do so, or if he... what are you doing, Lanx? Okay. Oh, he's going back. Well, and here's an interesting thing, because Az figured out that the entire dungeon is bow locked from the first treasure chest, which it's entirely possible. And since he's only looking for the bow at this point to be in go mode, he says, well, I'm not going to waste more time here.
Yeah, that's a very good play to get out of there without trying to sneak in there any further. There's no point to be there if you know the item is not there that you need to clear it. So he's going to save some time, and he's going to try to search other areas. He still does not have the Fire Rod. He's going into Skull Woods. He will not be able to complete Skull Woods, unfortunately, as Lanxion gets his hammer. Very happy to see that, I'm sure, and he's going to get out of here and fight Vitreous now.
Now, Lanxion does have some work to do. Az is going to be doing the dungeon that Lanxion's already done in Skull Woods. Lanxion's going to have to do Swamp Palace in the time, and finish off Misery Mire here as well. It'll be really interesting to see how much time Az kind of burns trying to find this Fire Rod. Get it? Get it? Burns. Fire Rod.
Boo.
I enjoyed it. So, all right, Lanxion is just about through. He's almost to Vitreous. Honestly, Vitreous is probably one of my favorite bosses in Link to the Past. He wasn't necessarily when I was a child because he was super annoying, but just seeing the variety of strategies that you can use to kill him fast, or having to really struggle to kill him if you're under-equipped between bomb strats, spin strats, other strategies using Cane of Burna. Any boss that you can use Cane of Burna on, I love.
So Asazas comes out of the Skullwoods entryway. Decided obviously there's no point to hanging around there right now. Let's see where he goes next. He's going south, he's going to the east, and he is going to
I think he's gonna do Hammer Pegs. And then he's gonna do Magic Bet, I bet. So we're finally gonna get our last fetch quest that we're gonna be doing.
Now, we did just find the powder in Pyramid Fairy. If the bow ends up in the Magic Bat, that is atrociously evil.
Atrocious, delicious, potato.
And as Zelda sprinkles the powder on the Magic Bat portal, he emerges. And today he says, "I shall curse you by taking your life."
That was slightly anticlimactic there, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was. So Lanxion is checking the mushroom right now, just plops it into the witch's stew, and he's going to find the 5 rupees inside the house.
Az looks like he's making the dip. He's like, fine, I will do Ice Palace if you insist.
Do I really have to? Yes.
Yes, you do. So keep in mind, getting the bombos was absolutely required to be able to get in here, just because no other way to get past this particular room. At this point, the bow could be in a number of locations. Most prominently, I mean, it could be a little bit further on here in Ice Palace. It could be on the Green Pendant. It absolutely cannot be in Palace of Darkness based on our current logic, but Turtle Rock is starting to look more and more like a competitor. The other interesting thing is it could very well... No, it can't be on the pedestal. We've already checked that. Never mind.
So Lanxion is going to go get his power from the Pyramid Fairy. Unfortunately, we do know at this point that it does not lead to anything at the Magic Bat, which is the only location that is really locked by that. Now, the powder can still be used to get hearts out of the anti-fairies. It doesn't produce fairies like it normally would in normal difficulty. In hard difficulty, those are replaced just by basic hearts. And in later difficulties and harder difficulties, it actually gets replaced by bees, which is even more fun.
Bees! Everyone's favorite meme.
Something being mentioned in the chat, the Green Pendant reward could be the bow. That would be unsavory.
Well, and that would be significant for Az, because I don't know. Lanxion, I think, is going to be going down here to, Swamp Palace right now. It's going to be a little bit of time before Lanxion heads back to Ice Palace, thinking, I already missed my opportunity. If I have to double dip Ice Palace, then it's probably already lost. That is committing to your gambles, I think, a little bit here. So if I were in Lanxion's shoes, I would just be hoping at this point that it's not in the rest of Ice Palace or not locked behind it. Once he finishes here, he might go right up to Turtle Rock.
Asazas finds the 4th Jokin of the Seed, which Lanxion already saw, thanking him for being the hero of Hyrule. Very, very nice to have that. I have a feeling that the Legend of Zelda 1 old men were writing the hits of today's seed.
All right, we're getting ready to see our first bit of new information here from Ice Palace. So this should be super interesting to see what Az ends up pulling. This could be a significant lead for the remainder of the race if it ends up being here. If not, he might be wasting a lot of time. So this is kind of a big moment here in this particular seed. The next 5 minutes as Az goes through Ice Palace here.
Well, that particular item is not very useful, but we will see what is beyond here because we do still have, is it 1 or 2 items left in here?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that 2 of the items that were locked behind there were the compass and the map, I mean, if Lanxion was counting, he would know that there's only 1 more item in the entire dungeon that could possibly be it, plus the green pendant. So, it'd be a pretty smart gamble if he doesn't go back there. Az is just burning a lot of time at this point if it's not here.
At this point, though, if you were in their position, would you not think that the green pendant might actually be in play as a possible location for that, either the bow or, in his case, the fire rod?
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. We know that it could be the bow.
Yeah.
But he's got to be making that same assumption at this point in time. Fire rod, he should be picking up here directly if I remember where it's at.
It was some. I don't remember which room it was in myself. I know it was in Ice Palace, so he will come across the fire rod eventually. Actually, no, I don't remember where it was. It was in the Freezor room. So I don't think
yeah, he has it
yet.
Yeah. If you look at his menu, he has it.
Oh, it looks like we just don't have it marked yet. Okay.
So yeah, there's likely an item on Cold Stare if I'm counting everything properly, which means if it's there or on Green Pendant, that's great for Az. If it's not, then that's just a lot of time that Az will have squandered with his good play for that hammer. Him and Lanx are going to be right there neck and neck.
So this is our first look at Cold Stare, the triple eyeball that is encased in ice that you melt as a very mean Hylian that you are. You have to take it out of its enclosure, forcing him into the corner. One of them escapes but doesn't get very far, and all 3 are down. Asazas finds for his reward some arrows.
10 arrows. Oh, man. So we'll see if Az ends up turning in that green pendant. If not, the only real place he has left to go, I mean, he's going to do Skull Woods, I think. But the other option, Turtle Rock. Pendant Turtle Rock.
I already saw a request in chat for the bow to be hiding on Trinex today. That would just be very awful. But definitely, I think it is definitely within logic, if I'm not mistaken here.
I think we're owed it because we were so close to Pyramid Fairy. So we got to be owed some entertainment here. The masses must be entertained.
So it looks like Asazas is making a play on going through Skull Woods at this point, which is notable. He does the fire rod, so he's going to take out the bug in the back of the Skull Woods. Lanxion is continuing through Swamp Palace, going to make his way to his own Argus fight and clear that out.
Chat pointing out that we're still missing the Ice Rod to be able to clear out Turtle Rock. You know what? If you're really hoping you find the bow before the Ice Rod, because the Ice Rod's garbage.
Yeah. If we find the Ice Rod now, that's going to make somebody sick.
I think that Ether Medallion just made Lanxion a little bit sick, because that is his access to Turtle Rock, and he knows it.
It would just be awful if the Ice Rod were in Turtle Rock leading to the bow on Trinex or something along those lines. That would just be something you would not expect any runner to try.
Well, we'll see if Az can have as nice of a Mothula fight as Lanxion did.
As you said, I think that's the fastest bug fight I've seen. Let's see if how his Asas compares on his attempt here as he drops into the arena. He gets the bug away from the northern spikes quickly, but doesn't get it locked down. He does have getting back into the upper spikes, but he does get it down. Lanxion clears out Argus very, very quickly, I might add, and both pick up crystals for their efforts. And I'm just doing a quick count here. That is 6 crystals for asazas, or yeah, so no, one's a pendant. 5 crystals and for asazas, and it looks like I see 5 crystals marked for Lanxion. So they are virtually tied. They are sitting on Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness as their remaining crystals at this point.
Yeah, this is, like we said, that's that time that Az spent going deeper into Ice Palace and Lanxion did. If it had something, he would be solidly in the lead. But now, with this back and forth that they're doing, Lanxion is right back in it. He's fluting away. We'll see what Az decides, or what Lanxion decides to do. Az is...
I could see this coming as his next play. He wants to make sure the green pendant is not important in this seed. Now, keep in mind, we still haven't seen a shovel as well, so the shovel is still at play. It'll be interesting if Sahasrarla hides the shovel, and that might be the key to something. But we'll find out because we're there right now. And Sahasrarla today provides just 10 arrows. So out we go to try something else. That won't cost Lanxion any time at all because he did not do that fight. But I'm sure it will nag him for a while.
Yeah, for a little bit. So Az is going to go up. He looks like he's making the Turtle Rock play now. Worth noting, I believe we did get a hint earlier that said that there was just some couch cash or something like that behind the shovel. So I doubt, even if we get the shovel, we'll be seeing that, because both of our runners should know at this point nothing is there.
I must have missed that hint, and I imagine both runners would have seen that hint. So, yeah, at this point, I think Turtle Rock, yeah, they've already been in Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness. They did Tower of Hera. Turtle Rock at this point is the only viable play. I think the Ice Rod and Bow are both in here. Or either that or the Bow could be hiding. No, it can't be hiding against Tower, but they need it for the 2 dungeons. So, yeah, the Ice Rod at least has to be in here, and I'm sure it's going to lead to the Bow as well.
Yeah, it's got to be something. Meanwhile, Az is going up there. I'm trying to figure out where... Oh, Lanxion's going to be doing hammer pegs. Just checking his one-off locations that he can do very quickly prior to going ahead and going up to Turtle Rock. Not necessarily bad, but again, each one of these one-off locations, you have to think it is incremental time that you waste. Sometimes when you've not gone to a place for so long, you have to say, if it's here, I missed it, and move on.
And I'm just doing a little more thinking, too. The Ice Rod does not have to be in Turtle Rock, and we don't actually have to beat Trinex to get into Ganon's Tower, because I have seen in some cases the way the logic works is a pendant boss item needed to beat it, like Trinex, for example. The Ice Rod can still be in Ganon's Tower, because all you need to get in Ganon's Tower are the 7 crystals. In theory, if you wanted to 100% a seed, you could walk into Ganon's Tower, get the Ice Rod, go back and beat Trinex. So the Ice Rod may not be in here, but if we do see that, that leads to the possibly sickening possibility of the Bow being on Trinex, which at that point is the furthest we're going to go to find that Bow, because the Bow has to be in here, I think, at this point.
All right, Lanxion, meanwhile, is going up here. He's going to be doing Pod. He does not know that Pod is Bow locked at this point. This is his first dive in here. Again, he's exhausting all options before doing Pendant, Turtle Rock. As first one to pull the trigger there. We'll see how quickly he's rewarded.
Well, we have 2 chests right here, and they produce a burrito and a key. So we are going to be continuing into the next door to see what is in Chompy's room, as I like to call it.
There's another thing that we have some more fetch quest possibility. We do not have access to Spike Cave yet from a logic perspective, because we do not have any invincibility items. Again, the logic does presume that we could one-hit KO things, so we have to be able to get through an entirety of the Spike Cave without theoretically taking damage. But how it's set up right now, we don't have either the Cane of Burna or the Cape. Now, keep in mind, Burna doesn't provide invincibility in hard mode. It's just the Cape.
Nope. So Asazas is going to take one of the tubes, make his way over to the anti-fairy glory room, which has 4 of them coming down from the north to assail. We have to avoid a bunny beam while taking out a pokey. He succeeds, but he still gets turned into a bunny. And we're going to find out what is in the chest on the other end of his pipe. Inside the Lava Island chest, we have the big key. Well, there is some pure vanilla right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lanxion is about to join Az here in Turtle Rock. This is just a straight line shot. They had some route divergence early on. They spent the first half hour really chasing one another. Grand divergence where they haven't even seen or heard hide nor hair. And all of a sudden we're back together here at 126. We've spent the past hour away from one another and the re-diverge.
And as Lanxion opens his access to Turtle Rock, Asazas is a few chests ahead of him inside, blowing up the hole on the other side, coming out the other exit as Lanxion goes in. Lanxion gets a heart container in the purple chest hint. Thank you for telling us that now. We appreciate it. As Asazas warps over to Mimic Cave, we're going to see what the Mimics have for us today. Still no Ice Rod, but we're pretty much limited, I think, to the bow most likely being inside either here or in the last few chests of Turtle Rock, possibly on Laser Bridge, possibly on Trinex if the Ice Rod is found.
There's the bow.
Or right there.
Mimic Cave bow. The memes are real. So, and chat pointed out, and we should have expected the bow to be relatively quick because Laser Bridge is out of logic. We can't get the mirror shield. No cape. Laser Bridge was out of logic.
That's a very good point by chat, and thank you for pointing that out as well for the people in chat who noted that. So the bow is now in Asaz's possession. That means I didn't catch the exact time, but we'll say about 1 hour, 27 minutes, and let's say 25 seconds. I believe it is safe to say that Asazas is in go mode, as we like to call it.
Yep, that is go mode. Lanxion's going to be on his tail, only about 2 minutes apart. This is going to be very close. Left-right split, and the quality of the boss fights from here on out could very well determine this. It's still anybody's race, as is in kind of a straight line lead at the moment, though.
As you know it could very well come down to the left-right play in Gan's Tower. If Asazas goes left, Lanxion goes right, and Lanxion finds it on the right before Asazas gets to it. That could decide the race, and it's never fun to lose a race to that kind of a gamble, but sometimes that's just what happens in Randomizer.
And that's, honestly, I think that's my favorite part about Randomizer, is that sometimes just a gamble, a left-right split, who knows what's going to happen, makes the difference. As still opening treasure chest, he needed at least 1 key. He's like, I got it. But
I got my key, I'm out.
What's he doing?
I think he's trying to get enough keys to go. What is he looking for?
Yeah, he got the key. He's good to go. But then he spent the key. So he got another key.
And he mirrored again. And going straight ahead again. I guess maybe he didn't have enough keys?
I'm pretty sure he does. Oh, big key. He needs a big key. Derp.
Oh, big key is not found yet. So there's another small key.
I keep on thinking, oh yeah, we're fine. We can just like walk in and kill the boss. You know, there's not like a big honking door blocking him or something. Lanxion, meanwhile, is about to pick up his bow as well.
And there's a burrito in the basement, another small key. As Lanxion at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 29 seconds is now himself in go mode. It is now a race to the finish to see who is going to get to the pig first.
Oh no. Okay, there's only one more chest, or there's two chests that it could be in. Here, or the vanilla big key location. We've had a lot of vanilla big keys. There it is.
Well, that's not quite vanilla, but definitely far into the far into the Palace of Darkness logic. We'll see what kind of route Lanxion takes to get to that big key.
All right, so Az is going to be working through here. I mean, this is the point when you're in go mode. And let's face it, these two for hard mode seed, they are very well equipped. 11 hearts may not seem like a lot for most runs, but for hard mode, that's very, very nice. You already have your blue mail, you have tempered sword, you do have silvers once you get to Ganon, so they are about as equipped as they could possibly hope to be.
Yeah, there's nothing else except possibly for the cape for invincibility, but I don't think you're going to waste time looking for that. At this point, they have everything they need to take Ganon on and take him out. So I don't see them stopping to look for anything else at this point, other than going through Ganon's tower, obviously, to find the big key.
And some question for chat, because they said, hey, did they not pick up the silvers? Keep in mind, silvers in hard mode only work on Ganon. You do not have access to silvers to be used until you're at Ganon. After that, you're just kind of sunk.
Looks like Lanxion did the same bow side play first, the bowlock side first. Check those chests. Now he's going to make his way to the back where the dark areas are. As Asazas takes on Homicide King, already puts a crack on the mask with a quick hammer swing. Working further on that mask, fire comes out of the mouth, and Def gets, I think he took a hit from one of the fireballs there. The mask is about to emerge. The silver arrows will not be able to take him out as efficiently, so we're going to just slash at it a few times, and at some point we're going to split his brains open. There it is. Asazas has caused Homicide King to explode. We know there's nothing of real interest on here, unless you consider a heart piece to be of interest. That is crystal number 6. He's going to warp to the light world at this point, finish off the Armos Knights, and he will be off to Ganon's Palace. We do have a game that we will play in a moment, but we will not start it yet. We will let you know when we are starting that game.
All right, so Az is going in. Lanxion will have to go to the back end. He did get the vanilla big key location, so he spent a little bit more time in the grand scheme of things getting through Palace of Darkness. We'll see. Does he start on the left or the right? I got to think he's going to start on the right.
Going on the right.
Easier. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So Az working his way through at this point. Lanxion slowly working his way there. Now, both Az and Lanx have already cleared out Eastern Palace, so everything is already cleared out. They don't have to open any chests, don't have to do any big key hunting, at least as of yet.
Even then, they don't only need the big key, so if the big key was in the first chest, which it wasn't, it was in the vanilla big key location in this case, there's no other key they need aside from ones from enemies or under pots. So if the first big key was to be in the first chest and they hadn't actually already gone through here, they could just breeze right through the rest of this dungeon. without stopping to open anything else. Needless to say, though, they already got the big key. They've already opened all the chests.
Lanxion finally ends up getting his big key, and Az is now on his way back here to Armos Knights again. We'll just have regular arrows. I think he's going to be using the bow just because it's a little bit quicker.
And he gets out the arrows to... Yeah, he is using the bow for the arrows, so it will be quicker. He is taking out the Armos Knights by piercing 3 arrows into each one. He manages to knock out the last 2 before one turns red, resetting its meter. Armos Knights are down. Crystal number 7 is collected. Ladies and gentlemen in chat, if you have donated 250 bits to the channel or more, or are a subscriber, we are now playing a big key guessing game in the chat. Now, for those of you watching the VOD or watching on YouTube, this is a game that we play at the Twitch chat. Feel free to play along on your own. If other than that, you can come join us anytime for a live race. You can actually play along with us as well. So speaking of today's big key game, Batasia, if I get my names figured out, where would you guess that big key to be today?
First of all, I'm flattered that you would think I would be anywhere in the same neighborhood as Az here. So I appreciate that. I really do. I have a rule for the big key guessing game. I keep guessing the same number until I get it. So my guess is going to be 9, but I know I'm going to be wrong because you, Witch, are going to guess the right number, whatever it is.
I don't know. Every time I play, I always say it's 11 because, well, always. Of course, after that comment, if it shows up there today, I might be burned out of the chat at this point.
All right, so is your official guess 11 then?
Yes, that's always 11 because always.
All right. You have just a little bit more time to get your guesses in chat. We will stop the guessing game as soon as ends up entering Ganon's tower. So real quick, get your guesses in.
Lanxion, meanwhile, is taking on Helmusar King. He is falling a little bit behind now. Now, the right-left gamble could still come into play if Asazas does the full left. But at this point, I think if he starts full right and it's not there and he goes full left after checking those 6 chests, exempting Tower Room, he would still likely remain in the lead even if Lanxion did make the correct play. Okay, the big key guessing game will now be closed, and let's find out who is right today.
All right. Yes, did start with the small key, so it does look like he's going to start with the right side, which is good. A lot of runners prefer to do the right side because it's less punishing if it ends up not being here. It's relatively quick.
So Zaz is now going to light 4 torches. Those torches are required to open the door at the bottom of the room. Very, very tricky layout, given that we are in the final dungeon. What more would you expect here? So once this last torch is lit, he tries to light the door. That doesn't work, unfortunately, but he does get the torch. He does get through the door, and he fires another shot at the mummy, which burns incessantly. We're coming up on chest number 3 to 6.
Yeah, keep in mind that because magic burns twice as fast, he wanted to save his magic as best he could.
We had the single arrow, but no big key in this room.
All right, and he's skipping the rest of it. So we are going 7 is going to be the torch. We've had the shoes for a while, so not necessarily a big one here.
And another small key. He will collect that. So those of you who wanted to see Bob today, sorry, we cured him.
Oh, rip Bob. All right, so 8, 9, 10, and 11. So both of our guesses. 8, no. 9, mine. No.
Oh, well, there's the ice rod. So I'm going to say the big key is on Trinex at this point. No, this isn't Key Sandy? Darn.
Okay, we can put the pitchforks and the torches away, guys.
My 11 normally would be in random room anyway, so that wasn't where I would have expected it. As we find the compass, so at least now we know where to find Aghanim.
Yes, we had no idea where Aghanim was going to be up until that point. All right, so yeah, this is where I usually envision 9 is going to be as well. So we'll see what ends up happening. Since we guess numbers, we don't get to take backsies.
And your normal 9 was a cape today.
Hey, I mean that's a little bit late, but sure, we'll take it. Meanwhile, Lanxion is on his way up in the meantime.
We are on our way to what is referred to affectionately as Rando Room. Reason because we only really have a reason to come here during Rando. There's the shovel. No big key, though, so by normal count, I'm out of the game anyway. So we only have, I believe, 4 chests left that we can really look at here. Bob's chest and the 3 in behind Ice Armos. That means we're coming up on location number 18 at this point.
Oh, don't forget tile room.
Nope, I already set that for 22.
Okay, 22. So 21, 20, 19. Okay, this is 18. Hey, you know what? I think we've earned a tile room as well. It would be nice. All right, no 18. 1 in 4 chance left, guys.
Yep, your expectation of tile room being part of the equation here is slowly starting to be realized, but we do have 3 chests to get through and Ice Armor's fight before we will know if that is the case. The arrows come back out. He pierces the hides of the Armos Knights one more time. It's like we just did this a few minutes ago. As he opens the 3 chests back here, we have the big key, and he opens the other ones just for fun. We have the 10-pack of bombs that you would get from the uncle in a regular randomizer, where the swords are not guaranteed out of the uncle, and we also have a smaller pack of bombs. But the big key was in location number 19 today. So let's see who wins today.
Oh, Big Dunka! Big shout out to Big Dunka, our winner for the first supporter to get number 19. Big shout out, Dunka.
Big Dunka, one of the other great players of this game. In my opinion, an execution specialist. He plays very, very well. Very nice to see him get on the leaderboard with this one.
All right, so now, Az is on his way up the gauntlet. Lanxion is going to be shortly behind. I think Lanxion skipped the right side, didn't he?
I don't think I saw him go to the right side. No, he seems to have gotten through here very quickly if he had. So he's going to save a little time on getting the big key, but he is at this point a fair distance behind. It will come down to the execution of the fights going up for asazas, whether Lanxion does those fights better and whether asazas has any problems on the Ganon fight. That could still change the result of the race.
Yeah, I mean, this is still anybody's race, and if you've been in Rando and watching it as long as a lot of us have, you know, anything can still happen. There can be, especially in hard mode, where, you know, you're running out of magic, you have to really conserve things. Your bottles don't heal you full, so just got to be a little bit careful here.
So Lanxion clears out Rand Room, Asazas clears out the Landmolas fight, round 2, and proceeds up to, I believe it's the 5th floor at this point, or 4th floor. I always forget which floor this is. It is 5th floor. So we are going to make our way around through this floor, and up on
Oh,
he misses the shot.
I don't know. He has enough for one more shot before he's out of magic, I think. Okay, I mean,
he got that shot.
Oh, but he's out of magic for the torture room unless he has some blue goo.
I know the jars earlier had a lot of red goo, so this could be costly.
This might be significant. Yeah, he's got to think about this.
Ooh. Oh, he found a small portion there, but that's it. Is he going to find any? Is there any more down? Oh, he got enough. He just has to get through the door.
Ooh, okay.
He made it. Ooh, there's the full magic jar in the top right of this room. He is good to go at this point. That was scary for a second.
That was very scary. He had to really stop and think, and that's not something you normally have to end up doing, using that lower one, but he got through it. Meanwhile, Lanxion is getting his big key. He's also going to open up the other treasures.
So Saz is coming up on the Moldorm 2 fight, and let's see if Moldorm has a say in the result of the seed today. Oh, there's the first shot hitting, and the second shot also hitting. Charging a shot there, he got Moldorm out. We are not going to have any ridiculousness from this one right now. He does skip the final chest. Why would he open that?
Meanwhile, he is
having trouble with the final hallway here. But he is through. So now, entering the 7th floor, it is time to cue the math fight. Geometry, trigonometry, whatever you want to call it. Agonizing splits into a triangle and lines up to take the first 2 shots. I think those 2 both counted. So lines up for another one on this go. 1 shot counts. Lanxion working his way through the gauntlet right now as we have another. That was a triple.
Triple. Very nicely done there by Az.
Very nice fight by asazas.
All right, so we are off to Mr. Blue Bacon himself. And this is, I mean, we got to be a little bit careful here. Only 6 hearts. I don't know what his potion situation is looking like, but got to be very, very careful because getting hugs still hurts no matter where you're at.
And Ganon's fact today is talking about the first passengers in a hot air balloon. I feel like I've seen that one before. A duck, a sheep, and a rooster. / hashtag hot air balloon facts.
Oh, he took a hit with that trident there. Did use potion. 1 red potion, yep.
I know the runners did find at least 2 red potions. I think the other 2 had bees in them, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think asazas had used any potions up to this point. He should have 1 more, and actually he bought a blue one at some point too, it looks like. So he has a blue potion that he just used for magic as well. Looks like he's in fairly decent shape now that he's on phase 3. I have a feeling that things will go very smoothly from here. There's the 3rd hit, and Ganon settles. Nope, still teleporting. Now he settles in, takes the 4th hit. And did you find the silver arrows in Swamp Palace? Yes, I did, Ganon. Here. If you stay still for a moment, I will show you one.
That one bounced off. Got to be a little bit careful. He's only got 7 arrows right now.
Okay, got another shot in there.
Okay, he's only got 1 more shot.
Yep, 1 more shot, and he's waiting to light the torch 1 more time. There it is, and now we need to get 1 more hit. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a side of ham and some crispy bacon, whatever you prefer, as asazas just has to cross the bridge, and he will take this race against Lanxion, who is currently on his way up to the Aghanim fight. Get your GGs in chat, everyone, as asazas crosses the bridge, and it looks like he has an official SRL time in first place of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 20 seconds. And let's see if we can get him in here for an interview.
GG to Az. Very well-run race. Just a couple different things that went just his way. Finding that hammer, I think, in Misery Mire was kind of the big swing if I had to put one thing on it, but just a very solid overall play, and that really helped him out.
So looking back at Lanxion here, we do have, he has finished the Aghanim 2 fight. He is now on his way to Ganon. And not doing anything with the bat, just standing there contemplating his situation as the bat flies off and the duck comes to pick him up.
And same duplicate fight. This should be an identical fight to what Az had, although he is also at only 5.5 hearts. I don't know if Lanxion bought blue potions as well. We'll see what his potion situation is. But he's already into phase 3.
That was a quick phase 3. And there were 2 warps on this move, and that's going to be on to phase 4.
Very nice torch glitch there that can be sometimes a little bit tricky. And switching to the silvers, which are available, and a double.
And he's going to get a single shot there, but that's enough to finish the pig off for the second time. As we are going through his Azazel's credit sequence, we will eventually get statistics, if I can speak, for both runners. Lanxion, meanwhile, goes through the door, and he locks in an official SRL time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 8 seconds. And GG to him as well. As we get the Triforce message, you win.
Yay, we win.
So let's bring assassins in. I do have him in the voice channel right now. Just waiting patiently while we finish Langxion's race. Let's bring him in right now and congratulate him. Asazas, welcome. Good game to you. Congratulations on your win today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this wasn't that hard, right? But interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, you had, I think it was 9 hearts in what, the first 20, 30 minutes of the seed?
I mean, just coming out of escape with 3 bottles and the blue mail.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was very hard mode at the very beginning of it. You had, I mean, you got Tempered Sword relatively early on as well. All the bottles that you ended up having, the blue mail, it didn't feel like the seed put that much pressure on you. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes. It's random after all. And in the end, it was like 12 hearts or something like that. Like, I feel hard mode. Hard mode is like a very similar difficulty level to that of vanilla NMG in general.
So was there any one play that you made that made you feel like that was like, oh, I feel good about where I'm at in this run because of any one thing that happened in the seed, or was it just a combination of feeling pretty good the whole time?
Not really. I mean, I got important items really late, but I also felt like Lanxion was getting them really late because, I mean, hammering Mr. Meyer and Fire Rod in Ice, then Bow in Turtle Rock. So just very difficult occasions, but I felt like it was really an execution battle mostly.
I'll interrupt for a second here. I do see Lanxion just coming into the chat room for the setup room right now. Let's bring him in as well. Hello, Lanxion. Welcome. Good game to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, but I had some quick mic issues.
No problem. Didn't even notice.
Awesome.
Now, something I was noticing that during that race, I think it was Lanxion who made the dip into Ice Palace first and actually found the Fire Rod first in this seed. That was looking like it might be the deciding play for a while there. Did you have any thought, asazas, on going to Ice Palace at some point?
First of all, I mean, I did have the thoughts, but yeah, in the end, I just played the crystals first, so just kind of got pushed to the last possibility because I had already fully cleared the overworld, I think.
Yeah, I mean, both of you ended up kind of going around and looking for everything else before going to Turtle Rock for that Mimic Cave bow, which of course was meme-tastic. But did either of you think about going up to Turtle Rock any earlier? Did you maybe it's there?
Yeah. Well, so I ended up going to probably erroneously, just given how linear the seed was. Finally getting ether should have pushed me up there, but I figured if it would be a quick jaunt over to Pod. If it was Bulwark, then I would know it's not there, that I don't have to be up the TR. But if I go up the TR, I would be a much bigger time sink if it's not up there. I think that's probably a losing attitude on that part. I probably should have went up there because of how many items are up there and just getting ether so late into the seed.
One thing I can say is that you both were at various points in the seed. You started out pretty much following each other's footsteps through all the initial plays. You both did, I think it was the Tower of Hera play, stopping at the second item. And then you diverged for a while, and then you just basically came right back almost into sync again at one point. So it's really interesting watching how the paths diverged for the two of you, and then how you just came back together doing the same things again.
I'm gonna make so I'm assuming that I kind of dipped early Ice Palace. So I'm assuming the difference here was that Asazas probably got Hammer earlier than I did. He probably looped in the Smith check earlier, which probably gave him more checks, making it so he wouldn't go into Ice Palace that early. But I'm assuming that would be the difference. Because I'm trying to think of other things I did. I checked a lot of other overall stuff. And then, did you go to TR first, or did you dip anything else?
Well, I went into TR basically just after I found the Fire Rod, but I didn't really have any other many other places left. So yeah, when I found the Ice Rod, I just cleared Skullwoods, took a peek at the pedestal, then turned in the Green Pendant, and T-Rock was my only play left, I think.
Yeah, and you nailed it exactly. Once as soon as you guys finished Thieves Town, and you both finished it kind of right neck and neck, exactly right. Az ended up doing the Smiths and got the flute, and can kind of continue that routing. You did not check the Smiths. You kind of went south, found the flippers, and was kind of leaning on those flipper checks earlier. I would say it was able to do Misery Mire and get all of that done earlier, but because he found the hammer, that also allowed him, once he was in Ice Palace, to full clear it, which you could not do when you did it, which ended up saving you a little bit of time, and you eventually got everything. So it was very back and forth, and kind of the interesting logic of what you had when you went to certain places absolutely played until the end. And you were only about 2 to 3 minutes apart, even entering Turtle Rock. So it was about the same the entire way through there.
Awesome. Well, it was definitely a good race then. Sure.
Yeah, it was very fun watching how, like I mentioned, you seem to just split apart, do your various things. And yeah, I think Asazas had the flute, I want to say 20, 30 minutes before Lanxion did. And I think Lanxion had the Fire Rod about that length of time before Asazas started thinking about going to Ice Palace as well. So it was really interesting to see how you both did the same general things. Then you diverged and you came back together, started doing the same things again. I think you were both going up to Turtle Rock at about the same time, just one right behind the other. So I think you'll enjoy watching this one back just to see how things came together for you guys during that race.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely will watch this back.
The bad part there was that he can use the flute for movement, and I cannot fly on the Fire Rod, so it's a tough getting around.
Yeah, probably those mobility items are really important. Even with the boots, I mean, the boots kind of mitigates it, but not totally nullifies it.
I will say we were hoping for the longest time that it was going to be a hammer fairy, and it looked like it up until that cutscene hammer, and then I got crushed a little bit. So
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of scared because I did not practice water walking glitched at all, so I would have to improvise or do Aghanim, I guess.
all right, anything else from either Lanxion or asazas before we try to start wrapping things up here?
Nope, all set. Thank you very much for commentating, and thank you for the race sauces. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the restream, everyone involved. Thank you for watching, and GG to Lanxion. Looking forward to the next match.
For sure.
And thank you both for the great race today. As I said, it was fun to watch. I enjoyed calling the one back on Halloween that unfortunately ended in the negative situation with one runner losing power, but it was really nice to be able to watch the second go here and see a really good race between the two of you. It was really fun to watch today.
Have a good night, guys. I gotta go ready for my next race. So good night, guys.
No problem. Feel free to get out of here. Have a good luck in your next race as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck.
All right. Be sure to follow our runners there. They put in so much work for you guys. Thank you so much. Also, big shout out to our wonderful trekker, Phantom Black Ice, doing all the work behind the scenes. If you like Randomizer, there's still a lot more Randomizer. There's so much Randomizer going on tonight. Holy cow. Going on right now over on Speed Gaming 4, there is a Ganon inverted defeat Ganon and an inverted seed going on between Hitsuyan and Quizbowl. That's over on Speed Gaming 4 right now at 8:30 tonight. So here in just an hour, Lanxion is doing another race versus P-Train, and that is an all dungeons open mode Randomizer. That'll be on ALTTP Rando 1. Also at 8:30 on Speed Gaming, the original, another inverted seed for Liam Atlas versus 1UP. Also, let's see what's going on. There's other races that I think we're still trying to get scheduled tonight. At 9:30 Eastern, there's another open mode Randomizer on Speed Gaming 3 between PRD Wong and Salty Fry. Also at 9:30 on Speed Gaming 4, it's All Dungeons Standard Mode between Korik and Arealis. So much rando. 10 o'clock, a retro mode, hard mode on Speed Gaming 5 between Chex Human and John Rossums. Oh my god, I am running out of breath. There is so much rando!
Yeah, that's a lot of rando to cover. I'm surprised you got all that out in one breath there. That's a lot of rando going on tonight. If you love rando, you're in the right place tonight. Between Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 to 6, follow all those channels. Follow A Link to the Past Randomizer and Link to the Past Randomizer 2 to 5. You're going to find all rando all the time as long as this fall tournament is going on. I want to cover and see if there's anything else going on Speed Gaming itself tonight other than rando. Oddly enough, it looks like it is mostly more rando. This is a Super Metroid Link to the Past randomizer going on Speed Gaming 2 at 9 o'clock. So if you want to see the type of seed where the game is combined with Super Metroid, and you have to go through a planet Zebes to find some of your items, and you're going to find some of your Super Metroid items in Link to the Past, you may want to head over there at some point to watch. You're also going to find a race in the DKC, Donkey Kong Country All Stages Tournament at 11 o'clock. That follows the Link to the Past race at 8:30 on the main channel. Looking ahead to tomorrow, let me see here. The first race tomorrow is the Chrono Trigger Final, so make sure you come tomorrow morning at 11:30. That is the tournament final. That is tomorrow, 11:30. Make sure you set your clocks. Make sure you come watch that. You're going to see two of the best Chrono Trigger players that we have. They're going to have I'm not sure what the format of that is, but there's a second race listed at 1:30. I think it's a double elimination tournament, so that may be a case of a bracket reset. So it may be one race, it may be two races. Set your clocks and come watch that tomorrow, and you'll find lots more rando going on tomorrow as well that it's not scheduled yet. So like I said, follow the channels, and you'll find all sorts of things to watch here. I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. But Teji, do you have any final words either on the seed or in general tonight?
No, this is definitely one of my favorite seeds, and I just want to give a final shout out. Cyclone, you are quickly becoming one of my favorite people to do commentary with. I love working with you all the time. Give Cyclone a follow here on Twitch as well, guys.
And definitely follow Vitasia and our tracker. And I can't even say the name. I think it was Phantom. How do you say his name?
Black Ice.
Phantom Black Ice, yes. Phantom Black Ice, give him a follow as well for doing the hard work, clicking buttons for us today, making us look good. And obviously follow Vitasia as well. I've known him as a commentator for a long time. Very, very talented commentator. Has been doing commentating probably as long as I've been watching Rando, if not longer. So definitely knows his stuff here, and definitely someone to look to if you're looking to get some ideas for getting into Rando yourself. To listen to him, he knows what he's talking about. So with that said, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. And I just want to say, again, follow the channels. Make sure you come back for the races. There's lots of races to entertain you with. We do have the stats up for the runners as well, so you can feel free to review those yourself if you wish to. I'm going to go ahead and just say good night here and wish you all a wonderful evening. See you for another one. Vitasia, you get the final word tonight.
Nope. Just have a good rest of your night, everyone. We'll see you at the next race.